All right, guys, welcome to the introductory podcast of the Giant Hot Takes podcast. I'm Jack. This is Jake, and so we have our first overreaction off day today. And so the plan for these type of podcasts, we're going to go over the recent series, the recent stretch, and then the overreaction part's kind of our coined phrase, and it's how we're going to make the big bucks. We're going to go over the good and bad performances of the week. And so there's going to be some overreactions that might not be 100% accurate, but me and Jake are always texting each other, texting our friends, texting our family, like overreactions, and they get pretty pissed off with us sometimes. So we kind of wanted to share that with the world. And so just to introduce myself, I'm Jack. Just recently graduated high school, going to San Diego State in the fall. Love the Giants, grew up in Reno. Loved following the Giants there, moved to the Bay Area, started loving them even more, but just being around all the Giants fans in here and just scrolling on Twitter, loved interacting with other fans there, so decided to make our own account. And then here's Jake.
I'm Jake. I also graduated San Ramon Valley High School, and I'm also going to San Diego State University next year. We're going to be rooming together, going to hopefully continue this and have a great time the next 4 years with this. And I've been in the Bay my whole life. My dad grew up here. I'm a strong Giants fan, and I always have been my whole life. Been growing up going to the games, got to experience the playoff runs in person. I mean, there's nothing like it, man. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. And it's going to be a great podcast today. We're going to be going over the Guardians series that just ended, and we'll get into it.
All right, so this Guardian series, we're just going to go over, break down, give out our key performers. And so, we started this road trip off in Atlanta, 4th of July series. Started off with a big win, won that game, lost the second game, and then Webb rubber match. Like, it doesn't get much better than that. Giants baseball, nothing like it. He gave up 2 runs in the first, battled back, ended up getting the series win late. Had some heroics in the late innings. Matos hit the ball to short air, and then Ramos hit a bomb that he thought was a foul ball, which is just unbelievable. And so we go to Cleveland. Cleveland, legit team, leading the American League. They've split 1 series at home this year, only lost 1 series. And so it's going to be a big test. And so, we start off that series with a big win, huge win in a bullpen game. Started Eric Miller against their starter, Tanner Bibby. And so, Jake, what'd you like in that first game just against them? And obviously bullpen games are hard to win. I know you don't really have the stats handy, but what'd you think of just that first game?
So I had a lot of confidence going in, knowing that Bivens was coming in after his strong last start. And Eric Miller's always been good to get through the inning. It's common he'll issue a walk or 2, but he's usually getting out of those first innings with, maybe a hit, no runs. He's been a great opener this year, and Bivens' last game having those electric 5 innings, much more than the whole organization thought was going to happen, was just phenomenal. And even not getting that starting job, the next outing he had, even though after Miller, I still thought that he did a great job. Coming off that hot start, he's got a lot to prove still, but I feel like he's got a pretty bright future for an older guy coming into the league.
Yeah, no, 100%. Spencer Bivens, hard to not love that story. Junior college ball, went overseas, played for a little bit, and comes and just shoves it up Ohtani's ass. And, he got pretty pumped up. Dodgers fans got pretty upset about that. But I don't know how you could get upset. And then so we win that game. Offense was pretty good. Got to Bibby early. Kind of overarching theme. We'll get into it in the other games. Still struck out 14 times that game. I was texting Jake, it's getting out of hand.
Yeah.
And then so
strikeouts have been the main problem for this team.
Brutal.
Offensively, for sure.
Brutal. And then so we roll into game 2, and I was at the golf course listening to a podcast actually talking about like Kyle Harrison's return. Pretty fired up, 22-year-old stud, local kid, De La Salle, having a pretty good year, and he just goes out there and just gets rocked that first inning. 3 earned. Pretty embarrassing performance from the kid. What did you see from Kyle, and what is there to even improve on to try to get the electric minor league stuff?
Kyle he's a very bipolar pitcher. He'll have his days where he'll strike out 9 and go 6, and he'll also have his days where he'll go 3 and allow 6 runs. He's a very interesting pitcher. He can't find the zone as much as we're hoping he can for how much he's taken off of his fastball these past 2 years compared to what he was doing in the minors, sitting upper nines. Now down to a 92, 94 area and still missing up a lot with that fastball. The meaningless pitches are what really helps the hitters on the opposing teams gain their confidence when in the batter's box. And with the off speeds as well, I mean, they haven't been all that good. He hasn't been locating them. They haven't. He doesn't really have a horizontal moving pitch, so the hitters know kind of what they're looking for and where to find it. So I think it's a big problem, and hopefully he can figure something out upcoming or develop something new that could really help revive this Giants pitching staff going into the second half of the year.
Yeah, no, 100%. He's got to do something different. I mean, I've still got a lot of confidence. I know Jake was at his home debut where he struck out 12 or 13 against the Reds. I mean, he's got it. He's just got to find it. And, maybe it was just the injury coming back. And so we roll back into game 3. Giants strike early in the second on a 2-run bomb by Michael Conforto, 440 feet, 107.8 off the bat. Just on a positive note, I don't know about you. I think Michael Conforto's back on the series, 4 for 11, 3 doubles, home run, 5 RBIs. And so, what does Michael Conforto bring to this offense when he's hot?
It's kind of crazy because, I mean, he's only, before that home run, he had only 2 of his 10 had been on off-speed pitches, and digging out that one in the ground on a ball that he tends to chase a lot and not even make contact with is really big. Because, I mean, he is a fastball hitter, and if he's hitting these off speeds, then I think other teams are going to have a major problem figuring him out. Because, I mean, if you're trying to throw him in the dirt, he's often going to strike out, and that's kind of the pitcher's plan. But when you see him dig a ball out and hit it 440 feet, then you're going to have a problem on the pitching side of things.
Yeah, no, 100%. And then so we go up 3. In the top of the third, tacking another run on Heliot Ramos, hot base hit up the middle, 1 for 4, up to 299 by an average, 887 OPS. And just after the game was announced as an all-star, pretty remarkable story for a guy who got called up on May 8th. And just share a couple thoughts on Ramos. What has he brought to this team, man? Because it's been incredible.
He shows power the other way, and that's what a lot of hitters struggle with, especially young hitters, is to be able to hit from all sides of the field. And if you're having a young guy who's coming into the league in his, early 20s and have a guy who can hit the ball not only oppo but out of the yard for over 400 feet, oppo is really big for this team. And once he starts seeing the ball better and as the years go on, I think he's going to be a real problem for other teams and a potential 40 home run guy for the first time since Bonds. Back in 2005.
Yeah, no, 100%. And so since getting called up on May 8th, compared to other NL outfielders, he's hitting 300, which is 4th. On base percentage is 372, which is 4th. 522 slugging percentage, which is 3rd. 12 home runs, which is tied for 1st. 40 RBIs tied for 1st. And a 2.3 WAR, which is 1st. So if this guy isn't a starter on, I don't know what day the game is, Tuesday or Wednesday next week, I feel like that'd be a massive disgrace.
Huge. This guy's got legitimate potential. And, his fielding also has been pretty remarkable ever since he's came up, along with his strong arm and accuracy. And I think that, he is the real deal. So, folks outside the Giants bubble, you're going to start hearing that name a whole lot more in these upcoming years.
100%. And then so just looking at my phone right now, whose name you're not going to hear a lot of anymore? Austin Slater's been traded to the Reds.
Minus about a lot of aura there. Whew.
Yeah, Austin Slater,
Reds.
Scrolling on Twitter right now, you see some fans sharing their favorite Austin Slater moments. And Jake, I don't know that I have a favorite Austin Slater moment.
I have a favorite Austin Slater moment, and I'll tell you right now, it happened on July 7th, 2024 when he left. So couldn't be more stoked about our most fraudulent 2-hitter and 1-hitter in Giants history. Is finally packing his bags and getting the hell out. So couldn't be more stoked on that.
Yeah, no, it's incredible. We got some lefty pitcher in return. Pulling up Alex Young, 2 innings this year. I think it's just an upgrade getting Slater out of that lineup. I don't know how Melvin's going to go to sleep tonight knowing he can't hit him second against the Blue Jays. But I think it's nothing but positive for this team. And so kind of bridging the next segment, this is This is our money segment, overreaction off day. So we're going to talk about the top performers. Started off on a positive note, and we're going to go to the negative performers. And I mean, Slater was going to be a negative performer, but just him getting off the team for us is a big positive. And so, what players did you bring to the table today to discuss? And overreaction off day table, or floor is yours, Jake.
So Patrick Bailey's been struggling on this road trip. I mean, he only had one hit the entire trip. He was 1 for 13 or 1 for 14. He's hitting around 270 now, so he has dropped quite a bit. The fastball has been a lot of his is proven to show a lot of his weaknesses. He's been late on the fastball. I mean, his one hit this whole series was opposite field down the line, and he has been taking a lot of pitches that are a lot like way too close to take with 2 strikes. And I think that's a big part of his struggle is not seeing that fastball very well because, I mean, the fastball, I mean, if you can't hit the fastball, then you can't play the game. So I think he had a great game defensively, threw a runner out, had a great play at the plate where he got the guy, slid his foot in to prevent the slide from Josh Naylor after receiving the ball, which was challenged and not overturned. So it was a big play from Patrick Bailey to get that out at the plate. And yeah, I mean, he's got some work to do hitting that fastball, but besides that, I mean, he's a stud. Great catcher.
Yeah, no, he's a franchise player. And so my positive overreaction was, I mean, Blake Snell, obviously struggled. I mean, he's been the biggest bust in probably the entire National League this year, if not the entire baseball world. And so he came back, looked pretty good against the Yankees, I thought. Got hurt, and then I don't know who came in that game. Might have been Rogers, might have been Jackson. Then he gave up a double down the line, 3 earned runs. And so he's been rehabbing for the last month. Not looked great, to be honest. Gave up 3 earned in 3 innings in Vegas. But very positive start on July 3rd against the Reno Aces. He went 5 innings pitched, 0 hits, 1 walk, 9 strikeouts on not very many pitches. So what could that Snell return mean for the Giants knowing he's starting Tuesday against the Blue Jays?
I mean, he threw 67 pitches, 46 which were strikes. That split is unlike Blake Snell. I mean, I don't know the last time he's gone 5 innings and pitched 67, regardless of what level of ball it is.
Hasn't this year for the Giants.
Yeah, I mean, if he can just have that same mindset, I mean, if you're throwing no hits against a minor league team with 9 strikeouts, you can survive in the big leagues if you're throwing that little amount of pitches. If you're throwing strikes, I mean, we know your stuff's good. You had the Cy Young last year. I mean, there's a lot of potential for this guy in the second half of the year. He's always been a second half of the year pitcher. Sub-2 ERA career-wise in the second half. Above 4 first half pitcher. I think he's going to beat the bust allegations the second half of the year and hopefully be a big part of leading our team to hopefully the playoffs in the 2024 season.
Yeah, and we need it more than ever. We're just struggling to get back to 500. Very good stretch there. Took 3 of 4 from the Cubs, 2 of 3 from the Dodgers, 2 of 3 from the Braves, 1 of 3 from the Guardians. So it was a good stretch, 5 and 4 in 9 games against those teams. But this team needs to start getting sweeps. They need to start getting sweeps quick, the way the Cardinals and the Cardinals and the Padres are playing. So I mean, I think Webb, Snell, Harrison, Hicks, Birdsong rotation should be able to get you 3 or 4 wins early in that lineup, and we need it bad right now.
I mean, yeah, Birdsong looked great against the Guardians today. He had 37 pitches through 3 innings, 25 of which were strikes. He was working all of his pitches on the bottom of the zone, especially that slider/curve and the changeup. Those were, I mean, phenomenal. He had a couple good strikeouts with those pitches. But in the 4th inning, he lost a little bit of his locations, and he was throwing the ball up a little bit more, and that's when they had that little rally to score 2. And I think that was a big part of the Giants' loss because he couldn't hold his spots, which, I mean, he's 22 years old. You can't expect much from him. He's got a lot of room to grow. And, he ended up figuring it out after the little rally, got out of the inning. And, I mean, he's got a bright future.
Stud. So just starting to move to the overreaction part. Players I'm sick of, I can't see playing a Giants uniform, was Austin Slater. He's gone now. Luke Jackson, man. Luke Jackson. Just going to read you some stats. I understand if you tune out of this podcast or skip past this segment just because Every time I hear the name Luke Jackson, I turn off the TV. I text my grandpa every time. So in June, Jackson went 9.2 innings. Let me start you right there. Way too many innings for this guy. 9.2 innings, 15 hits, 11 runs, 10 earned. Struck out two batters to 6 walks. Just embarrassing stuff. And then you'd think that would be it. He comes in against the Guardians on Saturday. Comes in 4-3 ball game, instantly nuke, no doubt shot, makes it 5-3. Of course we score. Forgot how we scored, make it 5-4 in the 8th. You just can't keep trotting this guy out there when you're battling for a playoff spot. What should we do with Jackson?
75 curveballs down the middle have never been a good pitch in MLB history, and there never will be a good pitch in MLB history. He's a 2-pitch guy, maybe 3. You could get a changeup, maybe 1 every 30 pitches. So we're not even going to count that. He has a 4-seam fastball, which is the straightest pitch I've ever seen.
And he doesn't know where it goes.
And is a curveball that doesn't have any horizontal break to it whatsoever. Straight 12-6. So you have a tunnel vision pitch that goes down the middle every single time. And as a hitter, you're in the box thinking that, he's just an absolute, treat for, anybody. He gets raked. Just straight up. And I don't know what Bob Melvin thinks about him. He must be doing something off the field that we don't know about.
If you know what you mean.
Yeah. So, Luke Jackson, awful player. Wouldn't be more stoked to get rid of him by the end of this trade deadline coming up.
So Jake, just to wrap up this segment, question of the day for you. Feel free to ask me a question after. 7th inning, 1-run ball game, Giants lead in. 8th or 9th inning, playoff game. Bullpen's been completely depleted. It's been depleted all year. You got 3 guys to throw to close this game out, advance in the playoffs, Game 7. You got Luke Jackson. You got Giant fan favorite Ross Stripling.
Death ball thrower. Look out, guys.
Death ball. And you got to wrap this one up. You got Tyler Fitzgerald. Out of those 3, who's advancing you to the next round, or are you just packing it up and going home?
Don't get me wrong. Tyler Fitzgerald stuff's by far the most electric of the 3. I don't care if it's 65 fastballs down the middle. Ross Stripling's death ball is literally a home run derby pitch. He could go into the home run derby this upcoming week, and he could just pitch the way he pitches, and I think there'd be some career numbers getting put up on that board. He is awful. He is the worst pitcher in the league. I don't understand. The A's, thanks for taking him. Shout out the A's. Jeez. Luke Jackson, this isn't the 2021 Braves Luke Jackson. I'm sorry, but you're awful. You suck. Tyler Fitzgerald, he can get out of an inning. As much as he sucks, too, at pitching, because he's a shortstop, he can get out of an inning. So I'm going to take Tyler Fitzgerald. This is full offense to both Ross Stripling and Luke Jackson.
100%. And so just scrolling on Twitter right now, it's not looking really good. They're still complaining about Austin Slater. I just can't relate. And so just going through some of the tweets I saved during the week, just going to shout out some followers of the pod. It's hard not. This is from SF Giants guy at SF Giants guy _. It's hard not to argue that the bottom of this roster is hurting the Giants near daily. Ahmed, Slater, and Jackson specifically just near zero contributions from any of them. You can argue with Ahmed's defense, and he has hit lefties decently, but he's just not any type of threat. I'm going to have to slightly disagree there. I just don't think Ahmed's a winning baseball player. In the next couple of weeks, Jake, who would you like to see at short? I know Estrada's coming back soon. Fitzgerald looks decent. Can we really reasonably expect to be a contending team with Nick Ahmed at shortstop?
I don't think so. He just hit the hardest ball of his year today, and it didn't even go over the fence. It hits off the top of the wall. Kuiper was surprised. Fleming was surprised. I was surprised. He just has no juice. A shortstop, they're not known for their juice, but he has absolutely none. And we need something better. Fitzgerald, he's got positives to his game. He can hit the ball over the fence. He's shown that in the minors earlier this year. He's 99th percentile in sprint speed of over 30 feet per second, which is unbelievable. He's a guy we need taking bags because we refuse to do it. It's unbelievable.
It's hard to watch.
What could we do? Losing a guy like Slater, who in the past has been a guy who could potentially take bags. What is next for the Giants in stealing bases? And who could fit the role of either an outfield or shortstop position to help get guys to scoring position from first.
Yeah, no, I mean it's got to be Fitzgerald. I'd think. I mean, I'd like to see Luciano get another shot. Maybe. I mean, it can't be at shortstop. Wisely's looked pretty good there. Estrada needs to clean it up. But just fast forwarding, coming up before the All Star break, we got the Blue Jays for 3 lined up to start those games. We got Snell, Webb, Hicks, and then we got the Twins coming to town, and we got should have Birdsong and Harrison, and then maybe a bullpen game mixed in there. Looking at the Blue Jays, what do you like about them this year? You think it's a winnable series for us?
I think 100%. I mean, the Blue Jays this year have been a little bit of a letdown. Bo Bichette, I mean, he's been awful this year. He's a potential great trade candidate because, I mean, his roof is high. I mean, we're seeing his lows right now. So I think that teams going for Bo Bichette would be on the smarter side of things. Because, I mean, we've seen he's a 300 hitter in the past who can hit up to, I mean, he's hitting mid 20 home run seasons. So I think that could be important for teams going forward to trigger those guys. And like a guy like Alek Manoah, who's just been a complete bust for that team.
Oh, terrible.
The bullpen has not been too great this year. And, I mean, they're kind of missing a lot of key components this year that they had last year. So I think our chances, we get a great chance to sweep them next week. And I think that'll be huge going into the All-Star break right before the Twins and a big momentum shift.
Yeah, no, I mean, we have to. We got to see Snell on Tuesday. I mean, I'm pretty pumped up to see him back. But, I mean, if this is another 3-inning start, 4 earned runs, I think fans are going to start to be pretty fed up. If he keeps going on this track, he could be a legitimate trade candidate. Called an overreaction. I don't think we can put up with this anymore if he keeps giving us that. So, I mean, I'd sure as hell like to see Snell go 5 innings, less than 2 earned runs, give this team a chance. Webb should be good with Webb. And then, Hicks needs a break. He's getting a break. Last start before the All-Star break. Should get 8 days in between starts there. We got to win 2 out of 3 there. At a certain point, this team just needs to start doing it. I was texting somebody earlier in this day, like, what's the issue? And, offense is playing. It's going along. A lot better than it was early in the year. Bullpen's got 5 or 6 legit pieces. Starting rotations starting to come together. And at a certain point, this team's just got to do it. And so, Blue Jays, Twins are a good team. You think it's fair to say we got to go 4-2 here, potentially 5-1. Just have to stumble to the All-Star break around 500.
I think 100%. This is the toughest. We just went through the toughest road trip we're going to have probably for the rest of this year. And, we went even. And you can't complain about that. The Braves, after losing Acuna, they've been a little bit on the more rough side of things. But, they're still a ball club that's 10 games above 500. And that's a big thing if you can take, 2 games out of that series. And then, another team like the Guardians, they're arguably one of the best teams in baseball, best bullpen in baseball. We saw that with 14 strikeouts in the game 2 nights ago. So I think it's just a big piece if we can shift some momentum from playing all these hard teams and take down the Blue Jays and then hopefully the Twins as well. So I think we should hopefully go around 5-1, and I'd be very happy about that. 4-2, it's acceptable, but I think we can go 5-1 in that series. I think we should be able to sweep the Blue Jays if we play the right baseball.
Yeah,
the baseball the Giants know how to play.
100%. We have to 3-3 the rest of the year. It's not going to cut it. Playing 500 ball, we've played sub 500 ball all year, so a certain way this team's going to start doing it. August schedule's getting a little easier. September's it's go time. You can't wait till September. So it's officially crunch time for this team. And then just to wrap up this segment, what's your keys to this homestand?
I think the pitching. I think we got to throw strikes, pitch to contact. I think that's a major thing. Our bullpen's been used way more than it ever has been this year in the past couple weeks. So I think that the starters need to go 5-6 innings. That would be the most ideal thing to happen. So get ahead in the count early, work to contact, let the fielders behind you make plays. The Giants are a team, they're top 10 in double plays, might even be top 5 in double plays turn this year. So they're a team that knows how to field the ground ball and turn the double play. So I think that'll be a big piece. Our hitting's been there. One game scored less than 3 in the past. It's been a couple weeks.
It's been a stretch.
Their
100%.
offense is definitely not the problem. They've worked in the clutch. They've been working counts these past couple games, and they've got the starters out early. So I think that it's most definitely going to be the starting pitching that's going to have to hold their own if we want to win what we're expecting, which would be 4-2 or 5-1.
100%. It feels like a pretty big road trip for these guys. And so just kind of recapping the episode, went over overreactions. Can't deal with Luke Jackson anymore. Can't do it. I mean, no, Nick Ahmed, pretty brutal stretch from the kid. Slater's out of here. You got Snell returning. Ray's on the cusp of returning. Hicks is getting some much needed off time. Harrison's back. So this team's tracking in the right direction. They've kind of stayed afloat, which is good, considering that's kind of how the team was built. This team was built on starting pitching. So eventually the starting pitching just has to show up. We appreciate you guys tuning in to the first ever Giant Hot Take podcast today on Overreaction Off Day. Stay tuned for a series recap against the Blue Jays dropping sometime Friday or Saturday. And then Overreaction Off Day will be a consistent posting every off day. We'll post once or twice during the All-Star break, recapping some stuff. Follow us on Twitter at Giant, GIANT, hot_takes. Follow us there. We post a lot of good content. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Check our website out as well, gianthottakes.com. And yeah, that'll wrap up this episode. Thank you for tuning in. I'm Jack.
I'm Jake.
And we're signing out.